The following days kept Aria Delacroix exceptionally busy. She met with Harrison Sinclair, a highly capable lawyer who quickly grasped the details of her father's case after just a few meetings. In his spacious and well-lit office, Harrison reviewed the documents Aria had provided and smiled kindly. "You were introduced by Xavier, so I'll be honest with you. At best we can reduce the sentence to 2 years. Aria's emotions were a tangled mess. Harrison leaned back in his chair, fingers interlaced. If Xavier asked me personally, why didn't he take this case himself? If he were to represent you, there's a strong chance he could overturn the conviction entirely." Aria couldn't tell him the truth. Instead, she offered a weak excuse. "Attorney Ashford is probably too busy." Harrison smirked but didn't push further. He politely escorted her to the elevator. Aria was deeply grateful but fully aware that this level of courtesy was all thanks to Xavier. As she stepped out of the building and prepared to hail a cab, someone called her name. She turned to see Ethan Sinclair. Ethan was Talon's childhood friend, a young businessman who ran his own trading company. They'd crossed paths a few times at social events when she was still with Talon. He approached with a smile. "Business with my father?" Aria hesitated briefly before answering honestly, "Yes, I met with attorney Harrison Sinclair." Ethan chuckled. "So you've met my dad, huh?" Aria froze. "You're attorney Sinclair's son?" Ethan grinned mischievously, surprised. "Come on, Aria, let me take you out for a meal. We're practically acquaintances. Anything I can do to help, I will." After hesitating for a moment, Aria agreed. Ethan pulled up his bright red Ferrari, the car gleaming in the sunlight. "No girl has ever ridden in this car before, Aria. You're the first," he said casually. Aria felt a sense of unease. Something about Ethan felt unreliable. He was too enthusiastic, too friendly for someone she'd barely spoken to in the past. Still, she didn't want to offend him, given who his father was. Once Aria had buckled her seatbelt, Ethan asked, "What do you feel like eating?" "French cuisine," Aria suggested simply. Ethan grinned and sped off. During the ride, Aria remained quiet, her mind preoccupied with the details of her father's case. Ethan didn't interrupt her, occasionally stealing glances at her when they stopped at red lights. He had liked Aria for a long time, ever since she was with Talon. But Talon had been blind to see how many men desired the woman he so carelessly discarded. After 30 minutes, they arrived at a French restaurant. They got a window seat, and when it came time to order, Aria spoke up. "Let me pay for this meal." Ethan raised an eyebrow. "I didn't think you were the assertive type, Aria." Aria smiled faintly. "It's just a meal, Ethan. Don't overthink it." Ethan let the matter drop, knowing Aria was only being polite because of his father. But before he could continue their conversation, a familiar pair entered the restaurant, Talon and Cara Ashford. Aria froze, instinctively lifting the menu to cover her face. Ethan, however, seemed almost eager for Talon to notice them. Talon's gaze shifted to them, his expression darkening when he recognized Aria. "Aria?" With Ethan, Talon's voice was sharp. Ethan smiled slyly. "She hired my father as her lawyer, Talon. I'm just helping her with the case details." Talon's expression darkened further. Even Cara, sensing the tension, tugged Talon's arm. "Talon, do you know her?"